introduce Brian to you this evening. He's from our scholarships department. He's going to talk to you about how to write a really fantastic application and what different kinds of scholarships we have on offer. So if you could please make Brian feel really welcome.
I'm going to talk about scholarships. Now, half of you in the room would have just tuned out when you heard the term scholarships. Half of you would have said, oh, doesn't apply to me, doesn't apply to my son/daughter. They're not going to be at the top, 99th percentile, so let's move on to the next speaker. I'm here to tell you that scholarships at Macquarie, we certainly have a range of scholarships, merit scholarships, but we also have other scholarships available. So I'm going to ask for your indulgence to listen to me all the way through, because there will be some opportunities for everybody in this room. Okay, so the foundation of our program is to reward and support our students. So the scholarships recognize academic merit, while understanding that some students may need financial and other support to assist in their success because of their personal circumstances. We have a real focus at Macquarie on students from disadvantaged backgrounds, whether it be financially disadvantaged, regional and rural students, students coming to us. We've had a student come to us this year from Broome in Western Australia, a student come to us from Darwin. So we're really getting our message out that we're a comfortable place for regional and rural students as well as local students. And we've created a dedicated scholarships and prizes unit to assist students with this support, and we also provide that link to students so that they can get advice from Campus Wellbeing, who has a booth here today, get some advice from the Career Services area, so we can link our scholarship recipients up with the services that they may need. It's an exciting time at Macquarie. We have a relatively new Vice Chancellor. He started in September, and he's now convened a working party that's looking at all of our existing scholarship schemes. And this is part of a review of recruitment and admissions across the board. So right now we have $2.5 million a year that's allocated from the university's operating budget to support scholarship recipients. We're obviously hoping that that will be increased with this review, but we'll see what happens. So the brief of this working party is to look at options for reintroducing a wider range of merit scholarships for 2014. So I envision that our scholarship program for 2014 will be a nice balance of merit and equity going forward. So again, something for everyone. So here's a list of our scholarship timeframes. Some of our scholarships you apply through the university's admission center. Some of them you apply direct to the university. So it's important to know that those two avenues to apply for scholarships at Macquarie. So July 2013, our scholarship schemes will be finalized. So this review of this working party will have all of the information out in time for term 3 for students who are doing the year 12 now, so that you'll get an idea for what we will have on offer. And certainly by open day in early September, we'll have a lot of publications, information to hand out, information on our website, information all over the place in your schools about what our scholarship programs will look like. Late November 2013, the UAC Equity Scholarship applications close. And then in early January, which is a point of difference for us, a lot of other universities will have closing dates for their direct scholarship applications in September. Ours go a little bit later into early January. And then students will be notified of their outcomes early February. The UAC offers are late January, but I bunched them all together, so early February you'll know whether you have a scholarship application. That'll be before your primary enrollment. Okay, so I was talking with a colleague earlier, and my background is in admissions, both here in Australia at Macquarie, and also in the United States. I was in the higher education sector there. And I estimate that I have read, because in the US, the university I worked for, required a personal statement from every single applicant. So I reckon that I've read about 10,000 personal statements for scholarships as well as admissions. So that's just setting up that I think I can give you some insight into what makes a good scholarship application as you're looking at applying. And this is also for anybody here who's looking at our Jubilee admission scheme, which is our mature age entry scheme. Personal statements required for that. So this is a universal kind of personal statement writing workshop I'm about to give. And a lot of it's common sense, but I thought I'd go over it just so it's reinforced in your mind. So for first session 2013, we received 1,000 scholarship applications. Of course, for most of them, we're looking for students based on different criteria, not just academic merit, but other information. So the personal statements that we see and that we like to read and that we look on favorably know their audience. They know that they're writing to a scholarship selection committee at Macquarie University. They also use creative writing techniques, imagery, draw the reader in. They also write very succinctly. And here's where I'll give you some anecdotes. So knowing their audience, every year, without fail, I think that students especially, and maybe parents, don't realize that we work closely with the admissions folks. So a student applies for a scholarship in Macquarie, and in their personal statement they say, you know, it's been my lifelong dream to attend Macquarie University. So that's great. So that's fantastic. We like to hear that. Then we get an application from the admissions team who the student has listed as a 9th preference. So then it gets you really thinking, well, if they weren't genuine about that, what else in their personal statement is a bit of a worry? Not that you have to have Macquarie as a first preference. I mean, we understand that there's other universities for you to apply to, but just be honest, be truthful, and write succinctly. And the other thing, take the time to make sure that it's polished. Proofread, and make sure you have others proofread it. This is something we also get every year, is obviously the personal statements are recycled, which is fine. You are getting asked to write personal statements for all universities, and that's fine. So we have a lot of find and replace errors. You know, students will try to replace Sydney University, say, with Macquarie University, but they'll miss one of them. So you'll be reading the application, reading the personal statement, and it's very nice. And at the end, I want to thank Sydney University for considering my scholarship application. So these are things that make decisions easy for us because that's attention to detail. Those are things that if we've got 1,000 applications, say 500 scholarships, well, that's not going to give you a good start. Okay? So we also encourage you for personal statements and letters of recommendation, which I'll get to. Talk to people outside, not just your family, because your family is going to say great things about you and say, yes, that's a perfect proofread, that statement is perfect, but get somebody else to look at it who may be a bit more objective. Not that your parents would lead you astray. So the next thing I'll talk about is the letters of reference. So again, succinctness. Again, with 1,000 letters of recommendation or letters of reference or whatever you're going to want to call them, there's a lot for us to get through. So letters that give insight to the student beyond the numbers. So don't just have the student or the faculty member or whoever you get reiterate their academic life, because that'll be evident from the student's HSC results as well as trial marks, everything else that we get. We really want to know what sets the student apart. And this is where you can go out. If you volunteer for your church or you volunteer for a community group, get somebody from that group, or you have a part-time job, get somebody from your employer to do a letter of recommendation in addition to your school reference, because they may know a bit more about you outside of the classroom. And I'll be the first to admit that when universities ask for other documentation, we don't really set students up to know what that means. What we really are looking to see is a CV, a listing of what students have done outside of the classroom or at the school, just more information, again, that can help us build the profile of the student outside of the class. And the important thing here is any questions, give us a call. We'd prefer that the application be perfect, or you be happy with it and we be happy with it before you submit it. Because the worst thing we can do is to delay the application assessment by having to chase up further documentation from you. And when we do ask for other documentation, this doesn't necessarily mean every certificate of participation that you've done since year 8. Be a bit selective with what you give us, things that, again, are going to set you apart from your peers. Okay, so I thought I'd go into some of the opportunities that currently are available for you at Macquarie and will be going forward. So this is a group that we have called the Aspiring Professionals, the Merit Scholar Program. And they're a very distinguished looking group at Macquarie. You've got the Vice Chancellor and the Deputy Vice Chancellor Provost in the middle. This is from the welcome reception that we did for this group and their parents in April. So what this is this a group, and this is exciting because what we're doing, this is one of the things under review, one of the programs under review, because I'm going to tell you that all domestic students with an ATAR of 98.5 or above will be entered into this program. But the exciting thing is we're now going to, hopefully, this will get signed off on by the senior executive, that there'll be a pathway into that once a student begins at Macquarie. We constantly are talking to talking to careers advisors, head teachers, principals who say, well, this student, they're a good student, but they really didn't buckle down during the HSC, or we think they're a late bloomer, they're really going to hit the ground running at university. So we're going to provide a pathway into the Merit Scholars Again, asterisk, assuming that the funding comes through. And again, early July, we'll have all of this sorted for you. For students who did not meet that ATAR requirement. And what this program is, it's designed to assist students to be successful in their careers and to help develop potential leaders of tomorrow. Right now, it's a select group of 50 students, and there's workshops that will extend for a minimum of 3 years. The program will focus on graduate skills that employers are looking for in their new recruits, and will provide a foundation for further studies. So if you want to go on to do research, want to go on to do master's work, you could do that. We have phases within that scheme where you can explore those. You can do an undergraduate research scholarship. So again, the program consists of 3 phases, and the first one is self. That's in your first year. There's a residential workshop where these students will go into Dunmore Lane College for a weekend, get to know more about themselves, get to know about what the university is and how they can help, the university can help with communication skills and networking. Phase 2 in the second year, you start to focus on your career. And in phase 3 is community, which is a residential workshop that includes teamwork, ethics, sustainability. And the students who've done this program have raved about it. They've talked about what a difference it makes. One of the benefits of this program is that you'll find in your degree program at Macquarie, you'll be studying with a lot of other actuarial studies students, for example. You'll be studying with a lot of faculty of business and economics students. This program brings all the students and all of the faculties together so that you get a bigger, wider discussion thread within these workshops. You'll get a English major's perspective. You'll get somebody from the psychology area. So it's a good way to get to know people across faculties. So one of the scholarships that we have, our biggest scholarship scheme, is our education cost scholarship, which is, this is based primarily on financial need. And this is one of the applications that'll be through UAC, and that's nearly $5,000 for up to 4 years. So that's support we provide to students who can demonstrate financial need. Anybody here from regional and rural areas? No? Okay. Just to let you know, we have a close relationship, not only this one primarily for regional and rural students, but we have scholarships on offer at all of the affiliated colleges, even for local students. So Macquarie University Village, Robert Menzies College, and Dunmore Lane College. This is a nice one because this provides up to $18,000 a year, and that includes full room and board and a scholarship from the university. So maybe you can move to Lithgow, get the residency there, and then apply for this scholarship. Might not be cost effective to do that. We have a wide range of scholarships for our Indigenous students. Right now we currently fully support 23 Indigenous students in Dunmore Lane College. These are generously co-sponsored and co-funded by Dunmore Lane College. And of course, Indigenous students are encouraged to apply for our full range of equity scholarships. One of the areas that we see a huge increase in, which I think is good for all of our students, is scholarships that provide an industry-based learning experience so that students can go into the workforce and get some real-world experience in addition to some scholarship funding. The biggest one of these is currently with GlaxoSmithKline. That's within our Faculty of Business and Economics. So what happens is, this is a program where second-year undergraduates are offered the opportunities to work full-time in those areas, so marketing, sales, finance, and customer marketing. And what happens is the student will be enrolled at Macquarie, getting placement credit, as well as having a $35,000 stipend to remain at GSK. And this, we're finding, is a good way for employers to test out our students. I've just had a phone call last week from one of the current GSK students who's applied for and been given a job at GSK, permanent graduate entry-level job. So it's a way for you to try out, the student to try out whether they like that industry, and also a way for the industry to know whether they like you, or the company to know whether they like you. And this is Vanessa, who did the GSK internship last year, and she talks about, in here she talks about, she went to a conference in Port Douglas, a sales conference, and she's had a great opportunity. She talks about the community, the GSK, and also the community within the other GSK scholarship recipients. There's about 10 of those. And other external scholarship partners that we've entered into: Optus for engineering, Johnson & Johnson for our School of Medicine, Australian School of Advanced Medicine, Deutsche Bank, and Cochlear. And there's a few other that we've had early discussions with for coming on in 2014. So that's ideally what we would like to do, is to give students scholarship support, but also to give them an opportunity to try out exactly what it is that they want to do going forward. So that's it in a nutshell. Again, feel free to find me afterwards and I can talk more succinctly or answer your specific questions. And also at Open Day, again in early September, I'll be doing a presentation on scholarships as part of that program as well. So thank you.